Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. Today we are going to again talk about business. This is step 3 in a series I'm doing right now. I honestly have no functional idea how many steps I'm going to give you, but I can tell you this. These are the same steps that I personally use and the same ones that I recommend many of my clients use. Now, I have been doing this I have been guiding people for over 40 years at this stage. And what we are talking about right now is a golden opportunity for you. Every one of you has the same opportunity. We are currently, as a planet, we are as a unified people, we are currently involved in an opportunity the likes of which we have never seen, at least not this lifetime. That opportunity is to restructure everything at the same time. Now, the path that we were on, the primary concern seems to have been, for most people, finance. So this is what is prompting this whole outlook from my end. I am taking this opportunity to restructure a lot of things, but we're going to focus on business right now. Now, the first two steps were already laid out in the last two videos. Today we are going to focus on step 3, which is how to lay it out so that you can stay focused on it. Now, normally I would say use a computer, use paper, use whatever for organizational. In this case, we have to take into consideration that because of this whole pandemic with COVID and the very serious threat of power loss, power failure, that sort of thing, at this stage, using computers as an organizational tool with regards to calendars, with regards to scheduling and dates and what have you, may not be in your best interest. Think of it this way. If you put all of your paper, all of your schedule on a computer, and then you have a power failure, what happens to your schedule? Where does it go? This is the one time in history right now of this rendition of civilization that if we have a massive power failure, a massive EMP pulse, what happens is everything that is written goes away. With this in mind, okay, now this does not matter if we are talking a home business, a small business, or a multinational. It doesn't matter at all. They all apply. So, in answer to the funny little question, why do you keep turning around? It's because I only have so much room on my home office desk. Now, understand, I have talked to people from every walk of life, from multimillionaires to homemakers, many of which are successful in their own right. But every one of them I've been able to talk to, and I've found the same sort of issues. So, what we're looking at here is this funny little thing here. Now, many of you recognize it. Most of you don't use them anymore. Welcome to a physical calendar. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go into detail explaining what a physical calendar is. If you're running a business, you know what a calendar is. Whether it's on paper or whether it's on a computer, doesn't matter. The reason I use a physical one is twofold. One, I don't trust computers that much. Yes, I use this one, but I have a tendency when I get agitated or when I get really, really happy, either way, electronics around me have problems. And the concern I have for you is this issue about power. That calendar. Use it to write down the date that any appointments that you've got coming up, or any paperwork, any goals that you have, to make sure you stay organized. I use it for such things as when bills have to be paid, okay, when I've got meetings to go to, when I've got appointments from that standpoint. You know, the real critical factor in this case is what I did with this. Okay, what I did with this is very simple. I've started putting on it when I have to post videos, because what I find is if I get the videos done ahead of time, okay, like for instance, right now I am working on this is part 3 of the series. Part 2 is already done, okay, and it will be posted as soon as I finish doing this one. Now, I work with live video, meaning I do not edit it. If I make a mistake in what I'm saying, as in I stumble over my words, and you'll find I do that a lot. When I do that, I leave it in. I am not perfect, in case you hadn't figured that out on your own. I am not the polished business person that many people think. Oh, if you're, I've heard a lot of people go, well, if you're in business, you have to be dressed appropriately. You have to be, you have to be very organized. People don't start out that way. The reality of it is, most businesses, when people get started, they are not organized. Meet my coffee cup. Um, Most people, what they do is they wing it as they're going. Now, I've made a lot of mistakes. Okay, I've made a lot of miscalculations, but in all fairness, you learn more from miscalculations than you ever do from doing it right. Okay, now it would be nice if you could sit down and say, I'm going to do something and it works out perfectly. That would be absolutely fantastic. What we are going to be discussing as we go along with this series, we're going to discuss things like language, like your outlook on people, the whole 9 yards, that whole attitude thing. We are going to cover and some of you will look at this and go, I don't want to go there. I don't believe in any of this metaphysical stuff. I don't believe in feng shui. You don't have to. It's kind of along the same lines of you don't have to believe in gravity either. But what you do have to believe in is if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, the odds are you're going to get the same outcome. Okay. It was once described that the best definition of insanity is repeatedly doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Okay, now, I've been doing the same thing over and over again, and I find I'm running around in circles a lot of the time. I find the same thing when I'm talking to people. I repeat myself over and over, and they're still doing the same thing. There's something wrong with this. So I take a look at the whole situation. Yes, COVID-19 is an absolute disaster for the world. However, think of the phoenix. Out of the ashes can come a beautiful bird. Out of this disaster can come a fantastic civilization if we make the appropriate adjustments. In this case, and here's that 4-letter word, money must become a side effect, not a goal. But you will notice that it is, in business, money is still a very important factor. And with that in mind, do watch the prior 2 videos. Absolutely do, because I go into into detail of why. Of why the steps work. You do have to be aware of money, but where it comes to the calendar, when you get an idea in mind, when something comes to mind that you have to have. Yeah, I know, I'm turning around. Okay, I have a list here. Okay, and you can't read it, but that's okay. You can see, at least I can see at this distance. I've got a list of things that have been written down and scratched out. That's because what I do is I write them down and scratch, and when they're done, I check them off. Okay, now I mentioned this in step 2. Okay, you put your list down of what you have to deal with. Okay, now the difficult part in all of this is making sure you do it. Okay, now people tell you the first step is always the hardest. I'm here to tell you I've looked at it. I've spent years studying this phenomenon. The first step is child's play for people. Okay, watch your kids when they're learning to walk. Watch any kid when it's learning to walk, whether it's human or otherwise. Okay, they take the first step. That's the easy one. The second step is usually accidental. It kind of automatically falls forward because as you're trying to make the step, you take the first step, then you lose your balance, and the next step happens. The third step, the one we are on right now, that's the critical one, and that's where the calendar comes in. Okay, when you have a sequence of events that has to take place. Okay, like and it's odd I find. Here I am talking to you about things we have to do, and what am I doing? I'm doing exactly what we're talking about. Okay, because the way I see it, if I'm going to tell you that this is, that it is critical that you follow through with things, okay, um, that you use a calendar, it only makes sense that if I'm going to tell you that's what you have to do, if I'm not doing it, well, basically what I'm doing is I'm saying, do what I tell you, not what I do. That does not work for me. In all fairness, I've yet to see it work well for anybody. Okay, so take the time to get a calendar together. If you've got appointments, if you've got deadlines coming up, you can always adjust the deadline if you don't have the time to do it. Okay, now in this step, what you're doing is you're simply getting it on paper. Okay. The reason for the calendar is so that you don't have to go through the odds and ends, but you can look at the absolute deadlines. Now, I know a lot of you turn around and you go, I'm going to automate all of my payment and I'm going to let the computer, I'm going to let the banks deal with it because I put it in my bank account to automatically make payments, which is fantastic if you've got the money to do it. But if you're like most people, regardless of your income, and you're working paycheck to paycheck, or you're working month to month, then the odds are that you're going to run into a problem at some time where something won't work quite right, and that bank won't have the money because you won't have the money. So by putting it on paper, where you can look at it physically in front of you, without any real effort, you pick it up, you look at it, go, okay, I've got these things that have to be done. I've got a bill coming up. It's got to be in the bank. You can be ahead of the game. And in business, whether we're talking business, whether we're talking home, multinational, doesn't matter. You're talking restaurants, it doesn't matter. Even if you're looking at, especially if you're looking at playing the stock market or working the stock market, much better term. If you're working the stock market, you have to be ahead of the curve. Okay, now understand, a lot of what I talk about, I have learned by dealing with a lot of other businesses. Now, I personally am, as I said at the beginning, a spiritual guide, a paranormal adept. However, my clients range from homemakers all the way up to multinationals. Okay, because all people, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter where you are, this all works. Now, of course, you have to use your own common sense, and I know that's a rare commodity for many people, but, let's work with it. That probably wasn't the most politically correct thing to say, but, okay, understand, I'm not necessarily politically correct. However, I am direct. So, get a calendar, put on it what your appointments are. Okay, many, especially big businesses, have a secretary to go, here's your appointments so that you can take a look at it. They write your appointment down and they go, here's your appointments for the day. You rely on your secretary, which is fantastic. They are almost irreplaceable in many cases, or at least they seem to be. Okay, few people know what their secretary really goes through. They go, I need this taken care of, and they trust them to deal with it. Well, I'm telling you, first rule of thumb, you always rely on yourself first. Know where you're standing. The calendar will help you know where you're standing. You put on it the list of what your appointments are, what your dates are, what your deadlines are. Okay, deadlines can be adjusted if things haven't come to pass exactly the way you'd like. Okay, but that calendar is critical. And as I said at the beginning, make certain you take that calendar, you get it in physical form. The reason for the physical form on paper is because of one detail, especially in today's world where virtually everything is tied to the electronic world, right, and everything is tied to power. If you have a power failure and all of your schedule is on the computer, you are hooped. That whole schedule goes out the window, and if you're anything like me, trying to remember every schedule that you've got, every project you've got on the go, from now until the end of business, if you've got all of that on paper or on computer and you lose your computer, you are in serious trouble. Okay, and they do talk about backups, and yes, records can be lost on paper. They absolutely can be, but it usually requires a fire, God forbid, or a flood. Either one is really bad. Okay, and I don't know about you. I can lose paper. This is why. This is why I do this. I write it on a sheet of paper that's not likely to get lost. It sits on my desk. Okay, so I'm going to leave it with that. The final step here is critical. And I'm just going to quickly go over this. I was going to leave it. And I have a tendency of doing that. Step one: go back to the other videos, to the other parts and the other steps in this process to get the detail on them. But step one is write down your target amount for the end of the month. Write that down on paper. Step two is get a list of projects together. Step three is absolutely get a calendar where you can put the end date for projects, for appointments, that sort of thing. You can get that where you can look at it and see what your deadlines are. These are critical steps in order to make things work more effectively. Again, it is absolutely imperative that we turn thinking around where the people and the planet become the priorities, where money becomes a side effect. Now, I am this time going to leave it at this. Be sure to like my video, subscribe to it to know when the next videos are coming out, and absolutely share it. Okay, until then, take care of each other and yourselves, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.